Hi friend, Jeanette here. You're about to take one of my Spine Care Foundations classes. This is my signature class for back pain and spinal injuries. It's the first step in taking control of your life again, and the next step is going to my website, JeanetteConery.com, and signing up for your free back pain starter kit. While you're here, please be sure to like my video, subscribe to my channel, and share this with all of your friends. Enjoy the video. Hi, and welcome to today's Spine Care Foundations class. I'm Jeanette. I'll be guiding you through your practice today. We're going to use a noodle or a rolled up towel, a strap, possibly a blanket if you need it, 1 or 2 blocks, and a chair. So, as always, please make sure the movements feel good. Don't do anything that hurts. And if in doubt, don't. Meet your body where you're at today, be accepting of the experience that you're having today, right now, and take what's appropriate for you. Leave the rest. Okay, so today's practice is going to be about asymmetrical pain. So this is going to be beneficial for everyone, but specifically this is designed to help people who have pain on one side of their spine or the other, and also SI joint pain. So we'll be going through a lot of the same similar or familiar moves, but I'll be pointing out the ways that you can do them to help create a container to keep your pelvis and your low back stable in a good relationship to each other and the SI joint. So we're going to get started lying down with the legs on the chair. Now, this is really good for asymmetrical pain and SI joint discomfort because it gives your body an opportunity to find straightness, flatness, and to release all the tension from the spine into the floor. It's also a chance for you to release all of the compressive force of gravity that's working on your spine all the time. This is the least compressive position that you can possibly take. So here we are in this restful position, and I'm going to invite you to bring your attention to your breath. As you breathe, notice what kind of tension you hold on your inhale. Most of us do have some sort of a tension, right, on the inhale, and a lot of the time that comes into the neck and shoulders. Other times it's the hips, but it can really be anywhere in the body. Take a few breaths and observe where you hold your tension and see if you can consciously let it go. Good. So now we're going to just take the legs off the chair. So you can push that chair away from you, or you can shimmy yourself up the mat a little. Bring your hands together in front of you, interlace your fingers. As you inhale, bring the hands up overhead. And as you exhale, bring them back down. Inhale up and exhale down, nice and slow. And this is just releasing your upper back. Very gentle massage on your upper back. One last time. Okay. So now we're ready for another massage. We're going to be kind of massage heavy on this day. We're going to use the noodle. The noodle is so good for a very gentle massage on your low back. I'm placing this noodle right around the level of the very top of my my crease in my bottom. So if you take your knees a little bit side to side, you can feel the noodle kind of sinking into the back of your hip and hitting your piriformis just a little bit. Now, if your piriformis is extremely tight, you're going to feel this a lot. If it's not, then you're feeling it a little bit, right? Either way, it's pretty nice. And the piriformis is involved with SI joint dysfunction. Usually it'll just be one side that's really tight. So if you have one side where your piriformis is super tight, you can just bring your knees over to that side and rest for a second with the little gentle pressure of the noodle pressing continuously on that piriformis muscle. You can even gently rock on top of that muscle like I'm doing right now. Just a little rocking motion. Now, it's tempting to stay here for a very long time, and I certainly encourage you to do that if that's what you want to do. But I'm going to keep the class moving forward. So the way we move forward with this massage is to just allow the noodle to work its way up your back a little bit. And you can see each time I put my knees to the side, I'm actually sort of shimmying down the mat, and the noodle is going a little bit higher on my body. So you do that tiny bit by tiny bit. And when you feel a good spot that needs some massage, like right across the sacrum, usually is a good spot, you can hang out there for a few moments and enjoy it before moving on. Something worth noting is while it feels really good to massage the side of your body that gives you the most sensation, it's also helpful sometimes to focus your massage on the other side. So that's something you can play around with in your private practice at home. For example, if I have a lot of pain on the right side of my back, sometimes massaging the left side can help alleviate that pain. And that's because sometimes there's a hypermobility on one side and that causes the irritation. But the hypermobility is sort of caused by over tightness on the other side. So by loosening up the other side, you can create a little bit more spaciousness for the entire spine to move and less pain. So we're working our way up the spine still and getting into the lumbar area. Get a lot less pressure here because of the shape of this part of your back. But it still feels pretty nice. Work your way up little by little. Now we're up behind the kidneys, the lower part of the rib cage, and that feels really nice too. Starting to get a little bit more pressure here. Sometimes you might want to bring your arms up like this, and that just lengthens out your spine a little bit and stretches your chest. Okay. Usually when I get up to about the bottom of the shoulder blades, that's where I stop. I do have clients though who want to go the whole way, so you can do that too. Watch out for your chair. And finally, when we get to the top, I would be remiss if I didn't take this opportunity to give you a little bit of an occiput massage. The occiput is the back of your skull on the bottom there. So you bring the noodle up right to that spot on the back of your neck where the neck meets the head. It's actually on the back of the head, excuse me. So the noodle's on the back of your head, not on your neck, the lower part of your head. And you can hold both ends of the noodle still while you move your head side to side. And if you're bending your noodle a little bit, bending the two ends upward, you will find that you can even massage the skull behind your ear, and there are some muscles there that get tight and tense, and that can be pretty pleasant as well. Walk the noodle up the back of your skull little by little. This is excellent to do when you're getting a tension headache. Okay, we're done with the noodle. Now we're going to use the strap. We're going to stretch the legs. So let's get back on the mat here. And it's time to, I think most of you have done this with me before, wrap the strap around the ball of your foot. I'm going to say right foot because that's what I'm using, but you don't have to do the same leg as me. It's okay if you don't. All right, now we're just bending the knee slightly will help you get a better stretch in your hamstring. Now, if you're really tight, you're going to feel a lot of stretch behind your knee, and you might want to bend your knee extra. If you're super tight, it's okay to stretch behind your knee. Watch out though, if you are hypermobile like me, just stretching so often throughout my adult life has made it so that when I do this, if I don't bend my knee, I only feel it behind the knee, and that's not good. So if you're hypermobile, bend the knee. And now we're just holding here for a second, feeling the stretch in the hamstring. And if you pull your toes down towards your face, you will feel even more stretch. And now we can take both ends of the strap in the right hand or the same hand as the leg that you're using, right? We're going to open both legs out to the sides. Relax here. Put your elbow on the floor to help hold the weight of the leg. If this is at all uncomfortable, something you can try, and this can be uncomfortable if you have SI joint pain, okay, you can put a block under your leg here to help prop it up so you're not putting a lot of pressure on your pelvis. Another thing that you can do with this is make it a moving stretch, because when we put a lot of pressure on the pelvis, it can make an SI joint problem worse. So what that looks like is like this. Exhale, close your legs and cross them in front of you. Inhale, open. Only as far as you can comfortably. Exhale, close. This way, your hip is always moving, and there's not a lot of opportunity to create more imbalance. So we've got lots of options here. And now we're going to move over into cross the body stretch. So take the both ends of the strap in your opposite hand, and this part's optional, okay? You can straighten your opposite leg on the floor like I have. And then pull your toes in towards your face and let that leg cross your body. So you're feeling this right here. We're not going into a twist. We're keeping the hips on the floor and just stretching this particular muscle on the side of the leg. And if you have SI joint instability or tightness or asymmetrical pain, you will feel this a lot. This muscle happens to be involved with a lot of pain patterns. Okay, so we're ready now to bring that opposite leg back up. We have the right leg in the center, and we're going to take the strap off, pull the belly in, and lower the leg slowly. If you're still building up strength, press into the floor through your left leg as you lower the right. That helps with more stability, more containment, keeping that pelvis all nice and wrapped up in a little package, okay? So now we can straighten both legs out. Inhale the arms up overhead. And exhale, the arms come down, okay? I'm yawning because this is so relaxing. And now we're going to do the other side. So we're going to wrap that strap around the left foot or whichever leg you didn't do already. And as you move the leg in and out, you're feeling this stretch out. How much do I want to bend my knee? Do I need to bend my knee a lot? Do I need to bend my knee a little? Do I need to straighten my leg completely? Some of us are perfectly happy with that. Straightening the leg completely can work sometimes. Okay, and now we're going to hold. When you're holding a stretch like this, you want it to feel like a gentle stretch. We're not cranking the muscles or the joints. So find that Goldilocks stretch and relax into it. Breathe into it. Allow your muscles some time to just melt. Good. Now we will do the inner thigh stretch. So I gave you like 3 different options last time. You could go ahead and go straight to the one that you liked the most. I'm going to demonstrate again the third option because I didn't spend a whole lot of time on that. Inhale, open the legs, and exhale, closed. Close the legs, let them cross over in front of your body. Inhale, open. Exhale, closed. And in this way, we're stretching the groins without putting a lot of pressure on the pelvis. Okay. Now it's time to take both ends of that strap in the opposite hand. If you so choose, straighten out your right leg. Take a breath, exhale, allow your left leg to cross the body. Don't forget, you can always use your hand to push into your thigh and lengthen out the side body here. That's because the hip wants to creep up sometimes in this position. And if we push that hip down and away by pushing on the thigh, we can make more space for the breath. Good. All right, so now we're going to come back to center. Bring the opposite leg back up so the foot's on the floor. Take the straps off. Take a breath, and as you exhale, pull your belly in, press into the floor through your right foot, and lower the left leg, keeping the leg internally rotated slightly. Good. Both legs rest on the floor. Inhale the arms up overhead. Exhale down. Good. So we're going to do the figure 4 stretch. Cross your right ankle over your left thigh and either push that right thigh away from you or bring your left leg in towards you. Take a breath and exhale slowly through your nose. Again, the hip wants to come up here sometimes. You can push that right leg away from you with your elbow like that. And that's going to intensify the stretch. So keep an eye out for any sign of strain, any sign of too much. All right, we're going to now Switch sides. So both feet on the floor, cross left over right, and bring it in. One more breath here. Inhale and exhale slowly through the nose. Good. Okay. So pull both knees in towards your chest. Let them go away from you. Keep your hands on the knees though. So the knees are going to come in and out with the breath. Exhale, the knees come in. Inhale, the knees go out. Good. Now we're ready to move on to something a little bit more warming, a little bit more exercise, strengthening. So I know I do this move with you guys all the time, and that's because it's really good for so many things, and it's bridge with a block. So we put the block between the thighs above the knees, and in this case, we're using the block to create a container for the pelvis and the hips to all stay together, well aligned, and the both legs will be moving at the same time. It's really hard to do asymmetrical movement when you're holding the blocks between your thighs. So we're going to focus now on doing a little pelvic tilt, and then we'll bring the pelvic tilt into the bridge. So I know we've been doing this a lot in class too. So we'll just spend a little bit of time with the instructions and more time on the actual exercise. As you inhale, release your all effort from your hips and your abdominals, and maybe even let your pelvis rock away from you a little bit. As you exhale, pull your transversus abdominis, that low belly muscle, in, pull your belly button in, scoop out your belly, and gently press your back towards the floor. Now, this is where the blanket comes in handy. If you have some bulging and herniated discs, you might want to put a little small prop under your back here because we don't want to let that back flatten out completely. So you'll have it there and your back won't flatten out, but you'll be pushing against something. So you'll still get the belly strength happening. So it's inhale, relax, exhale, pull the belly in, flatten the back towards the floor, not crushing the back, right? Just a little bit of flatness. And now we're going to add that to the lift, right? So exhale, pelvic tilt, inhale, squeeze the block very gently and lift. And exhale, lower. Inhale, relax. Exhale, pelvic tilt. Inhale, lift. Exhale, lower. Inhale, relax. You don't have to lift very high here. We're mostly focusing on getting everything from the hips up to the waist, all moving together, all the muscles working together. So let's do a few more. Exhale, pelvic tilt. Inhale, lift. Lengthen your tailbone towards your knees. Press into the floor through your big toe knuckle. And exhale down. Inhale, relax. Exhale, pelvic tilt. Inhale, up. Exhale, down. Inhale, relax. Exhale, pelvic tilt. Inhale, lift. Exhale, down. Inhale, relax. This is a move I recommend that you do every day if you have asymmetrical pain or SI joint instability. We're going to move on now to, what are we moving on to? Ah, yes, a gentle twist. So twisting can actually really aggravate an SI joint or asymmetrical pain in the back. So I'm going to show you how to do it without doing that. You're going to lay on your side. Then you're going to get your something under your head, right? If you need it. Some people don't need it. If your neck is okay, that's fine, right? But there's a lot to be said just for having comfort, especially when you have chronic pain. If you can set yourself up in a way that just feels really supportive and comforting, it'll make your yoga practice a lot more effective. So this block is going to go behind my back, like all behind my shoulder blades, and it's actually touching my back right now. I have it laying on the floor like this. So the long, narrow side is down on the floor. And it's right up against my shoulder blades. Have another block here. And then you can lean back onto that block. This is the world's smallest little twist. And the goal here is to just relax into this twist. We have this block here because it's going to help reduce the strain, the pressure on the SI joint. That can happen when you do a side lying twist and crank your low back into a big twist, and that SI joint can get pulled out. So if this is feeling really good, you can stay here. There are some people who can tolerate a little bit more twist. And in that case, you can put the block like this on the floor, the wide side down. And you can twist onto that. You can see it's still a very small twist. All right. And this feels nice too. As you lie here, imagine the muscles on either side of your spine relaxing completely. Relax your jaw. Relax your hands and shoulders, your hips. And now we can do the other side. So I'm going to turn and face my back to you so that you can see exactly what I'm talking about with the block that's behind me. Okay. So before we come out of a twist like this, we always come straight. We untwist. And then we come up. Right? That's the most gentle way to do it. So I'm on my side. You can see my hips are stacked. And that's what you want. You don't want this top hip leaning back. That's what we're avoiding. So I'm putting a block between my knees. And I'm putting this block right there. It's already touching me. And when I lean back onto it, I'm actually finding I need to scooch my bottom shoulder to come fully into this twist. That's not going to be the case for everyone. Relax and breathe. Slow exhales. And notice that with your abdomen twisted like this, every time you breathe, you get a little bit of pressure down into your abdominal organs, and that helps to pump more circulation into them. So they get squeezed on the inhale and released on the exhale. All right, so we're going to now come out of the twist. And if you remember, we untwist first by coming up onto the side, and then we lift up like this. And we're going to come to hands and knees. So now the blanket can become a knee pad if you want one. And let's find our neutral spine here. So we've got the knees directly underneath the hips, and we've got the wrists directly underneath the shoulders, and you want to make sure you've got enough length here. So of course I could have my hands closer, right? And I mostly have the hips lined up over the knees and the shoulders over the wrists, but there's not a lot of space here in my spine. So keep an eye on that. Maybe get in front of a mirror and play with that. So exhale, move your hips back just a little, and then inhale, come back up. I want you to make this a practice of mindfulness. You're looking for the spot where you start to feel those hips going in different directions. One is going up, the other is going down. Or perhaps you're looking for a sensation, right? Sometimes we're looking for the spot where we start to feel a little tightness. So we're going to go right up to that and then come back up. And some of us are not going to have to go very far before we find that. Right, so I'm going to show you an asymmetrical way to do this pose that's going to help you stretch one side of the back only at a time. This can be useful for SI joint injuries and asymmetrical pain, but it can also be not helpful. So I want you to take liberty and be your own judge here. Take it slow and easy. So what we're doing is I'm taking my left knee and I'm moving it back just about an inch. I don't know if you saw that. Let me do it again. Watch my knees here. Really small amount, okay? If you do too much, if you take that knee back too far, it'll just be too much. This whole thing won't work. So then you can shift your hips back and you'll notice one side gets a stretch more than the other. You can come back up. Exhale back. Inhale up. This is really good for stretching out the low back one side at a time without doing an actual side bend. And that's great for the foraminal stenosis. All right, so let's try the other side. Bring that left knee back to the center where we started, back up to neutral, and move the right knee back just 1 inch. Exhale back. Inhale up. Exhale back. Inhale up. Last time. Okay. Now we'll do it one time in the center just to make sure everything is even, Steven. Good. Come back up to the knees. All right. So the next thing we're going to work on is going to be from the standing position. And as always, we're going to move to standing the way of spinal protection. Put the chair, the first 2 legs of the chair on your mat. Put the block in front of you. You're on all fours facing the chair. You're going to come up into a little down dog, a non-committal down dog. We're not staying here. Take the feet wide. Walk the feet towards you, keeping the knees bent, keeping the low back straight. Hands on the block, hands on the chair, pulling the belly in for support. And then we come up nice and straight. Wonderful. And that's how we come up to standing from the floor, keeping the back nice and straight and protected. All right, so We're going to do mountain pose with the block. We're using the block a lot today, and I think you're noticing that that is a primary way that we can add stability to the hips and the core in yoga. So if we're ever doing a class and we're doing any of these moves without a block and you think, you know, I want the block or I need the block, you can have it and you can do it. Make it your own. Take all these practices and make them your own. So we are now pointing the toes forward. That's going to feel a little bit pigeon-toed. That's totally normal. Bending the knees just a little bit, and we're activating the spirals that we've been talking about. Press into the floor through the big toe knuckle. Lift your quads. Squeeze your glutes without allowing your legs to turn out. Roll your shoulders back. Lift your rib cage up away from the pelvis without leaning back. Hold belly in. Pull your head back so that your ears are over your shoulders. Okay. Now, can you squeeze that block and release? Squeeze and release. I'm going to show you another really cool trick that I learned. From that position, you can take your strap and wrap it around your thighs, around the block. Okay. Woo. You want it nice and tight. So if you have SI joint pain or asymmetry, this can help to bring it back to closer to a neutral symmetrical state. Okay, it's a little self-adjustment you can try. So I want you to squeeze the block like we just were, with the quads turned on and the butt turned on and the big toe knuckle pressing into the floor. And keep your butt squeezed just about 30%, like you've got a little acorn in there. And pull the legs out away from the block. This is turning on your gluteus medius muscle. Okay, so relax. We're going to alternately squeeze and pull, squeeze and pull. And I can't emphasize enough the importance of keeping your gluteals squeezed just a little, even as you're pulling. That really helps to develop the stability from side to side in the backs of the hips. So squeeze, release. The big toe knuckles still working into the floor. You feel this energy coming all the way up the leg. Squeeze, release, or pull, not release, excuse me. The whole body's working here, right? Squeeze and pull. Squeeze and pull. And sometimes you can even get a little pop here right on the pubic bone. There's a little joint there called the pubic symphysis. Sometimes this can help you if that's off. So definitely the point is not to try to get a pop. Okay. All right, we're going to move on. We're going to do the down dog and plank flow. I'm going to show you two different ways, depending on the amount of upper body strength you have, but we're keeping the block between the thighs. So for those of us who have shoulder injuries, or we're still building up some upper body strength, or maybe even there's like some wrist stuff going on, we're going to do this flow at the wall. So start by putting your hands on the wall right at shoulder level. Walk your feet back. So now you have a plank, right? And you can go into your down dog Inhale to plank. And all of the alignment cues apply here that we use when we're doing this on the mat. So we're pulling the belly button towards the spine. We're squeezing the block just slightly, turning the butt on just a little, pressing into the floor through the big toe knuckles, pressing into the wall through the hands, keeping the shoulders down and really engaging through that shoulder girdle. You should feel some work happening here. Okay, so exhale into down dog, keeping your back straight, right? We don't want to see this in your down dog. If you have to do that, then you need to bend your knees more, just like if we were doing it on the floor. All right, so those of you who like that option, stay there. This one is going to be a little bit more weight bearing on the arms. We're putting the hands on the chair, walking the feet back. Make sure you have your abs turned on here because you need them, okay? And if you don't have a yoga mat that's sticky enough to keep your chair still, put your chair against the wall. Inhale into plank. Exhale, down dog. Inhale, plank. Exhale, down dog. So we're all doing this together and we're keeping the shoulders down. When we come into plank, we're pressing into the surface under the hands. We're pulling the belly up. We're reaching long through the heels. We're squeezing that block a little bit, keeping the legs all the way turned on, reaching through the crown of the head, and then exhale, down dog. Okay, last one, plank and down dog. Good. So now we're going to do one where everybody's going to be on the wall. We're going to do chair pose on the wall. Now we have even more stability for these hips and this pelvis and low back, okay? I'm going to come into a little bit of a squat. Now, where your feet are depends on how much quad strength you have. If you walk them away from you, it's less work for your quad muscles. That's these, okay? If you bring your ankles right underneath your knees, that's more work, right? So if you really want to build up some quad strength, which I recommend if you have osteopenia, osteoporosis, okay, or if you have this kind of posture, try doing it the harder way until you're fatigued and then move the feet out, okay? All the same alignment principles apply here that we've been using throughout the entire class. So first we're gonna lean forward, pulling the belly in. You can see that my back is straight. And from here, to strengthen the back, we can lift the arms one at a time at first. Inhale up, exhale down. Inhale up, exhale down. Inhale up, exhale down. Now let's do both. Inhale up. This is optional. You can keep doing one arm at a time. Exhale, cactus arms. So now we're really working the upper back, okay? We are fighting against gravity as it tries to round the shoulders forward and pull the head down. So the head is pulled back, the chin is slightly tucked, back of the neck is long. Okay, place your hands on your thighs and press up. And we're gonna take a break. I'm gonna show you how to do a really safe twist from that position. Coming down into chair and twisting is something that you will experience in a yoga class if you ever go to one. This is a variation that's going to make it safe for those of us who have pretty severe spine problems, okay? So we're gonna go back onto the wall. Come into your chair pose. Press your thighs, press your hands into your thighs so you can get really, really long, because we always want to be really long and tall when we twist, okay? Left hand goes to right thigh, right hand goes behind the right hip. Pull the right shoulder blade behind you. So there's no twist on the low back at all here. And then you can look over the right shoulder. Now, those of us who don't have the disc issues in the low back and the stenosis and all those things, we can actually try doing a nice big twist here. But take it easy if you have that asymmetrical thing we've been talking about, because that can aggravate. It's nice to have the wall to provide that stability, that reference. It's like a scaffolding holding you up. Okay, the hips are not going to be doing anything weird here. Okay, so now we're going to come up and take a break. Let's just inhale the arms up, exhale down. One more time, up on the toes. Just throwing a little balance in there for you. All right. Back into the chair position. Right hand, left thigh, left hand behind left hip. Lengthen yourself tall. Bring that left shoulder blade behind you. Look over your left shoulder. Can you see me smiling in the mirror? Okay. Good job, you guys. This is hard, I know. It's a lot of work. Of course, when you go into a twist, you're always watching what happens in my back. How does this feel? And do I need to reduce it? Right? Always watching those questions. Okay, we're going to come away from the wall. Inhale up onto the toes. Isn't it amazing how all the same alignment principles transfer? So once you learn the basics, you can really do any pose well. Press into the floor through your big toes. Pull up your quads. Squeeze your butt just a little bit. Pull in your lower belly. Inhale up. Exhale down. Good. Now, it's time to work our way back down to the floor. So, we're going to come onto hands and knees again. We're going to do a little side bending, really gentle one, okay? The asymmetrical pain in the spine can get aggravated with side bending, so this one's small. Take your left hand, put it on your right hand. Shift your hips back. So if you want to stretch out the bottoms of your feet, you can keep your toes tucked as you do this. This will also make sure you don't go really deep and too far down. Stretching out the bottom of your feet is so important. Good. All right, so now we're going to do the other side. But first, we need to come back to center. So we have our neutral position. Shift the hips back. And then come up. Right hand on top of left. Exhale back. Inhale up. The last time. Okay. Back in the center one more time. Ooh, ooh, my foot. Yeah, there we go. Okay. Come down onto your back, please. And you can choose either legs on a chair, legs on the floor, whatever you want. If your neck is bothering you, please be sure to put a blanket under your head. And what I want you to look for when you do this, the good neck alignment in the supine position, that's lying on your back, is having your forehead level with your chin. So if you lay down on the floor and your chin is poking up like this, definitely want to get some support for your neck. If you're like me and you lay down and your chin dips down towards your neck, you want to bring it up a little. Now I'd like to invite you to pass your attention through all the parts of the body that we used today. We'll start with the feet, the ankles, knees, hips, and finally the sacrum. So the hips and the sacrum make this really important triangle in your body, triangle of stability. This is the central hub of your entire musculoskeletal system. Breathe down into your pelvis. Feel it expand as you inhale and contract as you exhale. You might even choose to bring in a visualization here. I'd suggest the butterfly flapping its wings right there on the back of your pelvis. So you have the body of the butterflies, the sacrum, and the two sides of the pelvis are the big, beautiful butterfly wings. And they open as you inhale and they flap slightly closed as you exhale. Let your attention travel up your spine. If you find any areas of tension in your spine, breathe directly into them. Imagine as you inhale that you're rubbing your back, and any sensation you have there of tension is dissolving. And as you exhale, imagine that tension has been transformed into cellular waste and you're just exhaling it out. Wiggle your fingers and toes. Open your eyes. Roll over onto your side. And then come to a comfortable seated position. Either on mat or on a chair or on a blanket. Good. Thank you for joining me today for Spine Care Foundations. I hope this was helpful to you, especially if you've been experiencing asymmetrical pain or possibly SI joint instability or dysfunction. Since I've experienced SI joint instability and pain myself, I thought it was really important for me to pass on the tools that I used to heal myself. So please feel free to use any of these modifications in future classes if you like them, if you want them. As always, it's a pleasure and a privilege from my heart to yours.